Welcome everybody to the CNC with Dave show. Tonight we have a guest from way across the pond. We're going to be talking about the Masso controller from Hind Technology. So I'm pretty excited about that. But before we get started with that, I've got a few little things I want to talk about, and we also need to do some introductions here. So, oops, I forgot to mute this. Hold on. My bad. Yeah, I was thinking I already had it muted, but I guess it's just because it hadn't started. We'll go ahead and start with introductions, and we'll start with you, Becca.
Hi there, I'm Becca Miller, and I'm in Texas. I built Dave's CNC about a year and a half ago, and love it, love it, love it, love it. If you don't have one, build one now. Get his kit. That's it for advertising there, Dave.
Checks in the mail, Becca. Okay, I'm going to skip over Jad here for a second because we'll be coming back to him in a minute. Juan, you want to introduce yourself? Tell everybody where they can find you.
Sure. My name is Juan Lopez. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and you can find me here on Facebook under G Code One Design, also on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Thanks for being here tonight, Juan. Next, we have Mark.
Hey, good evening, y'all. I am Mark Lindsay, and no, I'm not the guy from Paul Revere and the Raiders still. And on here on YouTube, especially down in the comment section. And you can find me on Facebook in way too many woodworking, guitar, and CNC groups. And I didn't post anything to Instagram this week, but usually I am on Instagram when I can remember. And I'll be in the chat monitoring for your questions. And thanks for having me, Dave.
You're very welcome, Mark. I suspect we're going to have quite a few questions tonight. But before we get to, well, let me go ahead and let Jat introduce himself, and then I got a few little things, and then we'll get right back on it. Jat, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, mate. Yeah, thank you so much. Really excited about this video. So just a quick intro. My name is Jatinder. Call me Jat. That's probably much easier for everyone. And just it's probably easier for everyone to remember. I'll just quickly do some advertisement. That's the Masso. So I'm the creator of Masso, the CNC controller. And been just messaged one day to Dave, and I said, I've been watching your program and would love to be on your program, and he's been kind enough to give me this chance. So yeah, really excited.
Okay, well, I got to tell you, I'm really excited to have you on here, and I think I speak for many folks because I posted a link to, I guess, that Kickstarter video that you were telling me about. I posted that in Facebook, and it already generated some questions and conversations. So looking forward to hearing all about that. But before we get into that, I got a couple of things I want to go over, and then the rest of the night is yours. I was trying to give, if those of you might have watched the giveaway show last Saturday, I was trying to give away one of these hats, and nobody ever texted me with the right answer. And I'm sure there's, everybody's waiting to see what that is. But the question, and we're going to do this again tonight too, folks. It's going to be called the question of the week. We'll do it at the end of the show, and whoever texts me the first one to text me the right answer will win a hat, or we'll be giving away some different things. But still trying to give away this hat right now. But anyway, the question last week was, what did the name Brandon Riley have to do with GarageWorks CNC? And I guess I just made it too hard. I kind of thought somebody might kind of tie it in because, I asked the question on a giveaway show, and if people would have thought about the previous giveaway show, I know it wasn't on my show, but it was on Russ Clarity's Let's Talk Shop with Russ. When we did the giveaway for that on Russ's show back in February, Brandon Riley was the very first name I pulled out of that barrel, and he wasn't watching. So that's the connection with GarageWorks CNC. So we will do another question at the end of this show and see if we can't give this hat away. Okay, a couple other things I want to talk about real quick. I wanted to thank Roy Baker and all the other guys. I don't know if I think I've thanked everybody else before, but I got some pictures of his CNC build. I've added like a photo gallery to each of the websites. The GarageWorks CNC, if you've got a GarageWorks CNC and want to take pictures and show off your build and promote your YouTube channel or show off your work or whatever you got, send me pictures and I'll put it in that photo gallery. And also anybody that's gone to the old CNCsidewinder.com website, you probably noticed there's a redirect link. I've changed all that over to another website. And the website is just davegatton.com. So that's where you'll find all that stuff. So send me your pictures of your Gatton CNC builds and your GarageWorks CNC builds and whatever you want me to promote for you, and we'll get it on there. I don't have a whole lot here. I guess the only other thing I was going to mention too is, we'll talk about this every week until it gets here. The woodworking show in Atlanta is Friday, March 31st, Saturday, April 1st, and Sunday, April 2nd. I'm going to be going there probably at least Friday and Saturday, if not all 3 days. So if you get a chance to come to that, make sure you try to look me up. I'll be wandering around there somewhere, and would love to meet you in person. A lot of these people, I feel like I know them anyway, because I mean, I've never met them personally or anything, but I see them every week on the chat and stuff like that. So we'd love to meet you in person. Okay, I don't want to babble on here too long because I know Jat's got a lot of stuff to tell us about that Masso controller, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions. I've already made myself a little list of questions. I'll try not to be too hard on you, Jat.
Right.
I'll tell you what, go ahead and just take it away and give us kind of give us the backstory on the Masso controller.
Right. Okay. I wasn't a very CNC person before, but always just building, stuff with electronics and motors, anything that's fun kind of thing, and love programming since I was a kid. So I was working for a mining company for a few years, and while doing that, I used to get involved with getting CNC stuff made. And during that time, I realized that a lot of people are struggling to some extent with old machines, or even if they're trying to build one. Because I remember when I was at uni, I tried to build a mill. So that was kind of a disaster. So like mechanically, I had a lot of issues. But when it came to the control side of things, I basically used, I don't want to name anything, but probably everyone knows, what everyone uses, a PC, and run a bit of software on Windows. I tried to do that and had a lot of issues. And during that time, I was just talking to people online, and I'm like, what do you guys use and all that. So a lot of feedback came in, and my first build was on a parallel code. So at that time, I was able to get an old PC, and that it was kind of okay to get those signals, but over time it became harder and harder. New versions of Windows coming up and so much hardware coming out, and there's no exact support or integration from the customer side of things. So being someone who loves programming, I'm like, okay, there might be a better way of doing it, and it was more of a personal thing. So I started writing little programs and getting some understanding about G codes. And so while doing that, I was on forums asking people a lot of questions. And so what do you see, Masso now, it's actually the second version. I had another one before this. And we sold that for something like 6 months, but then I realized some of the inputs and outputs were kind of limited. So, we got a new version in. But during that time, I came into contact with a lot of people online. They were most of them were just helping me understand how the whole concept of CNC and all that. They actually became my first clients. So they were really happy to have this unit. And very early we realized that it's probably a good idea to keep the design open from the point of view that the software is upgradable. I don't want to create something that I think from my engineering or my experience, and then I think, oh, that's the best product ever. And so I thought, okay, let's keep it this way, that you can upgrade the unit, and as we get feedback, so it's like everyone gets together, give the feedback, and then we add that to the list of things to be done, and in the next release we do that. And for the same reason, we actually give free software updates as they come along, and we don't charge, so there's no extra charge for that. Once you buy the unit, over time it keeps on improving. You'll get an email with a little attachment. You put that in your USB disk, put that into the controller. 10 seconds later, it's got all the new software. And when we talk about the software and hardware, as I said, the integration was really important, that everything matches up. So from base up, we built our own hardware. So we made sure that we can control most of the stepper or servo motor drives. We can control a VFD. So there's a 0 to 10 volts output. If you want to control a DC spindle, there's a dual PWM output, so you can control the direction and the speed. So using PWMs or 0 to 10 volts. So all those options are built in. And as we realized what else people want, so we were able to add a little PlayStation controller connector on the unit. So, and there's a wiring diagram on the website. You just wire accordingly. It's a basically DB9 connector. So yeah, you solder a few points, and next thing you plug it in, the unit just detects that there's a controller. You don't even have to install any software. And from the software side of things, basically we don't run any operating system. It's a microcontroller, and everything has been built especially for this purpose. So there's no issues with loading operating systems or version control or anything like that. So everything is built for purpose, and the hardware is matching. We have full control over the hardware. So we actually get the hardware manufacturer. We design the hardware. So there won't be any issues with like software not matching up with the hardware or anything like that. Everything is on board. You don't need a PC, so the whole unit itself is basically a PC. So if I quickly run you through, so that's the connector where you connect your LCD monitor. It's a standard LCD monitor that you use the PC. You can plug in a USB keyboard, USB disk. That's where you load all your G-code. On the other side, that's where your PlayStation connector goes in, and that's for your MPG. So you can connect a full MPG handwheel with selector switches, resolution, all those for 5 axes on this. And the hardware is same for all the different models we have. And so basically you can control 5 axes over here, and then you have 16 inputs, 16 outputs over here. So you can control these outputs through software. I think it's G64 and 65. So if you put that in your G code, you can make this pin go low or high. So if you want to control something else, then you have your 6 relay outputs. So basically there are no relays on board, but we have the driver. So you can actually have 12 volt to 24 volt relay connected straight here. It will control those relays. Again, this can be controlled through software. On the input side, we have 32 inputs. They're all optically isolated, so they can take between 5 to 24 volts. So you don't have to run anything in between. And even these ones you can configure in software what function you want to give those. So it can be your homing input, or if you want to, let's say, load a G-code automatically from one of those inputs, you can do that. You have a full encoder input that's mainly used for threading on lathes. So you can do synchronized multipath threading on this. And you have serial and Modbus on it. So We left the hardware for Modbus and serial, but till now, we're still trying to understand what people would like to use on that. Maybe some spindles, some VFDs. I know you can control through Modbus, but at this stage, most of the people are happy with 0 to 10 volts. And I'll just try to just take the lid off. So yeah, slide that off. So if you can see it, so that's all the electronics you have on here. So you have a lot of optocouplers on the top and on the side. So these are all for the inputs, and they're actually in sockets. They are not surface mounted. So just in case you burn any of them, you just unplug, put a new one in.
Yeah.
And in the documentation, it tells you.
If I can interrupt you just for a second, Jet, that was one of the questions I had, because I noticed one of the comments, I think that I saw on Facebook, they thought it was an all-in-one unit. So if something went bad, you were putting all your eggs in one basket. But I thought that I'd seen you say in another video that you can replace just what goes bad.
Yeah, and generally, it's the inputs that people end up burning sometimes if the voltage goes up or there's a ground loop or something. So that's where you have all the inputs have optocouplers, and if you look at the outputs, most of the times, for relays we have a driver, so you're not going to damage anything on that. The stepper or the servo outputs, they go directly to your drives. They actually have optocouplers on their end, so there's hardly anything to damage on that side. And for the outputs, I don't know if you can clearly see, for a VFD, because on a VFD they have their own control voltage on the VFD itself. So we actually have optocouplers for those too, for those outputs. So if you connect to your VFD and by any chance you connect the wrong way, the maximum you'll burn is these two optocouplers, and you can get them for, I think, $1 or something off eBay. So pretty easy to replace.
Okay, did everybody get that?
Oh yeah.
I know that was a lot of information at one time, but I've been glancing over here at the chat, Jat, and the questions. I mean, I'm sure, Mark, I don't know if you're getting them all, but we've got a bunch of them.
I'm doing what I can.
Okay, well, Jat, are you ready to take some questions, or?
Yeah, so before we just do that, because a lot of people still think that this is basically, because the size is so small, they think, oh, it's another iPod that you actually plug in with your PC through USB or something, and you still need a PC. I just want to make it clear that you don't need a PC. You connect the VGA screen, the graphics that you see on the documentation and in the videos, it actually runs straight from this. So that's the whole idea, because we want people to actually in the workshop have an independent machine. So there's an update going on, or there's a virus on the machine, your whole machine stops. In this case, because we're running on a very dedicated hardware and software system, viruses or things like those won't have any issues, because everything's so much controlled. So even if, let's say, your USB drive has a virus, it just won't make any sense for the system. It won't even understand what it's saying. So it's all locked up for it. So yeah, so you won't need a PC. That's my main point, because I would say it's such a new concept. Some people say, oh, okay, you need a PC with that. So just want to make sure.
Okay. And like you said, there's not an operating system on there. It's just a microcontroller.
Yes.
Okay, Mark, do you want to questions?
We've got questions coming in left, right, and center. Y'all, I'm one guy, okay? I'm one guy.
I'm ready.
They are coming in hot and heavy.
I will tell you, folks, we're going to try to get to every single question. If you put it in the chat and Mark misses it, put it in there again or something, because it scrolls by fast. I'm trying to watch it too, but we'll try to get to all the questions and do the best we can here.
Okay, the first one that came up is that an HDMI monitor input?
Right. Okay. That's a very good point, because a lot of people have been asking about that. So at the moment, the design that we have, it's VGA, because we had some limitation on the hardware itself. The quick fix for that is you can actually get a VGA to HDMI converter, and that works perfectly. So you can just buy that off eBay, plug that in between the unit, and you can use an HDMI unit.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, but really for what you're going to be seeing on that monitor, the VGA probably would work fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, because some of the old monitors that people would like to use actually had VGA, so that also within that favor. We just said, okay, for the timing, let's leave it like that.
Okay. Okay. Now there's some confusion over here. I'm going to answer this one here. Somebody asking, does it use Mach 3? No, it does not use Mach 3. It's your own proprietary controller software, correct?
Exactly. And that is the whole point, that we could get rid of the PC, the issues with PC and operating system. So it's all in one package. So nothing to do with the Mach 3.
So Jad, just because I know what the folks are thinking over there, or at least I think I do, because they're used to us talking about kind of what you talked about is, you know, you have a PC and then you install Mach 3, you know, and then you have maybe a UC 100 or something like that. But this thing is, you know, it's already got the, well, it's a microcontroller, so it's already kind of got what would be similar to Mach 3 already built into it, so you don't have to put that in there. You know, and plus it kind of takes the place of the computer. You just hook a monitor to it, and you can hook keyboard, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, a USB keyboard, yeah.
Okay. Now, what about, well, I guess if it's VGA monitors, it wouldn't work with touchscreen monitor, right? Or not?
Because I would say we are such a small team and there's been so much happening, we have kind of limited resources. And again, you know, we've been trying to get feedback from everyone and say, we can do touchscreen. We did some quick trials because basically the touchscreen driver acts like a mouse. So the system thinks it's a mouse. So we can actually connect a mouse, but at the moment we are not going that path because there are other things that needs to be done. And the interface that we have tried to make till now, it's quite simple. We have shortcuts and very, you know, if you look at the videos, only very few clicks that you need from the keyboard. So in the future, there's a good possibility that touch will work. And it's a matter of just sending you guys an upgrade through email. So nothing on the hardware side. The hardware is still ready. You just plug in the touchscreen, USB touchscreen. But at the moment, we don't support that in software.
Okay. Well, I guess, you know, as you say, you're trying to develop it and constantly upgrade it. So that part would be a little farther down the priority list. You've got more important things to, you know, keep working on.
Sure. Sounds like a matter of firmware.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got another question there, Mark?
Oh, I got a bunch. One of them is I had Andrel Design was asking lots of questions, and he finally boiled it down and said what he's trying to find out is this open source, or can we access the microcontroller for our own add-ons, or do we have to wait for software upgrades?
You have to go through us. So that's how we try to control everything, that, you know, everything works fine and there's nice integration with everything. So basically we try to take feedback from everyone, add it up to the list, and you know, depends how much it's priority or how many people want that feature. Generally it's taken care of in the next few updates. So we provide all the updates and control, because at the same time we gotta control the hardware, because we have to make sure that the hardware and the software, it's a good match, you know, and that's the whole issue we are trying to resolve to start with.
Okay. Now Richard over at Shade Tree CNC is asking, will you need separate motor drivers? And that was a question of mine.
Yes, you will need drivers. So the unit doesn't have any drivers. The unit gives out step and direction signals, so you can connect any type of stepper motor drives or servo motor drives. The signals can be TTL, differential signals. It can drive all of them. So we have had people tested these on all pretty much every type of stepper drives because they take same optocoupler signals. But we have also tried these on Panasonic, Fuji, DMM, pretty much all the major brands. And there's actually a video on our channel. This guy had an old Bridgeport machine with the Yaskawa drives, and the whole control electronics just burnt or something. So they pretty much took out everything, just left the drives in, and we were able to run the entire machine straight on from those drives.
Okay. Let's see. We've got Brian Weller is wondering if an update is found to be bad, can you roll back to a previous version of the operating software?
Yes, anytime. You'll have all the updates in your email. You can request back. You can roll back. So basically, the whole system is designed in a way that you can't brick it. Even though while upgrade, if something goes wrong, there's the power cable's loose or something, the system restarts. You literally can't brick it. There's a backup system inside, and you can even switch to different versions. So initially, a lot of people ask me, they're like, "Oh, I want to try this on a mill, but I also have a lathe, so I need to buy 2 controllers." And generally, we say, "Mate, yeah, we understand, no issues." So we give them 2 copies, one for the lathe and one for the mill. They can plug in anytime, and the controller software just changes. Okay. So you can do it anytime.
Okay, great. Bart Bixel wants to know, is there a probing or touch plate wizard or routine for it?
Yes, we have touch plate that's using G-code, but we are also trying to add like little shortcut buttons on the screen, so you can do through that. And very soon we're going to also add automatically what do you call the tool touch. So just a lot of machines you manually change the tool. So in the setup screen, it will have an option that if you have that ticked, so it's been enabled, then you, as soon as you manually add a tool, it will automatically go, zero itself, come back and start machining.
Okay. Terrific. Okay. And Paul's Messy Workshop wants to know, does it have a USB input?
Yes, so it has 2 USB inputs. So one is dedicated for the keyboard. You can't connect anything else there. The other one is for the USB disk. So that's where your G-code goes in. There is no internal memory on the unit. So whatever you need to run, it runs straight from your USB. Okay. And the USBs can be pretty much any size. 4 GB is the file size limit. Okay. One of the biggest trials we ever did was, I think, was a 5 megabyte file. Was something like 400,000 lines of code for 20 hours long job. And so you can do pretty big jobs on this.
Okay, great. A couple people asking now, which post processor does it use?
Okay, so for the post processor, if you guys are Mac 3 users or EMC, the Linux CNC guys, you can still use the same post processor. For Fusion, what we realized is the Fanic one works great because it's the same G-codes that we use.
Okay. And let's see, let me go back here and find this question. I'll come back here. Okay, Jeff McD wants to know, he's asking what kind of a GUI does it have? Is it similar to Mach 3?
I wouldn't say it's similar. We try to make things very kind of neat to what you want to just see on the screen, not have everything on the screen, just gets confusing. And again, even the GUI, everything is based on people's feedback. So it's a simple GUI. If you go on our website, hindtechnology.com, you'll see a couple of screenshots of some videos. So it's a custom GUI. You can't change the GUI, but you can request something in the next update. So, if overall you say, oh, can I have this at this point, might be really helpful, you can have that.
Okay. Terrific. Okay, Sign Pro is saying, so this sounds similar to the multicam setup we use, where the PC sends the file to the brain, and the brain communicates with the CNC instead of the computer. basically, yes, there's no computer involved. It's all the Masso, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a production job, or actually we try to target the design in two different ways. A lot of our clients are actually in the US, the hobby guys like you guys. There are few people that have come to us over time, especially in Asian countries. They run little production workshops. So over there, generally it's a production environment. They have only a few designs. So once they have the design done on the CAM side, they just pretty much have the USB plugged in the machine all the time, and they're making thousands of parts a day. So you don't need a PC. So you plug in the design, you'll see the interface on your screen. You cycle start, and straight away you go from.
Okay. Let's see. There is one more here from Richard at Shade Tree CNC. He's asking, can it use the Xylotex driver?
I don't know, actually. I haven't heard about those drivers, so if you can send me those details, I won't lie. So send me those details. We'll definitely look into the data sheet. And if you look at the documentation on our website, we did initially did PDFs, but then we realized it's not very interactive. So we actually have an interactive web page. So like in his case, he's asked us a question. What we're going to do is that if those drivers work, we'll make up a quick wiring diagram, actually put it on our website, and send him the link. So what happens is next time, if someone's looking for the same driver, it's on our website.
Okay. Now I'm almost done here, and then I'll let Dave get back into his. There's some people wondering what about heat control? How is the unit cooled?
Right. Okay. So yeah, actually, that's a very good question. That was a big one because I realized when I made my first system, and it wasn't even that dusty. I wasn't even cutting that much wood or anything, but the fans and everything would clog up. So that's why on the unit itself, there are no moving parts. All the parts are passively cooled. So generally, I'll just try to show a side view. So it's actually a DIN rail mounted unit. So this will be actually mounted on a DIN rail inside where you have all your electronics, and the airflow that you have just cooled on your drives, it's enough to cool the system. So the system itself doesn't need any paint.
Okay. And then the last question I've got here that I have seen is from Sign Pro, and he wants to know, so you can basically repeat jobs directly from this unit, correct?
Yes, okay. Exactly. You can repeat jobs, and you even get a little edit window. So just like like a little notepad, you can edit code. You can write basic code in there. We also have visits. So if you're running a mill machine, if you want to face something, you just put the diameter of your tool. You say where you want to face it, what's the cut size, how many passes you want. It will make the G code for you. So things like that, you can cut circular pockets. So if you go on the website, you'll find all those details. So you can actually, for some jobs, don't even need a PC. For basic work, you can come and just straight away do on the controller.
Okay. Terrific. All right. Okay, that's it for a second. I've got a couple more coming in. I need to copy them.
Cool.
Okay. Another question I had, Jat, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if I heard correctly or saw it on the website correctly, you offer this unit in different configurations, like a 3, a 4, and a 5 axis. Is that correct?
Yeah. So as I said, the hardware is still the same for all the models. It might be lathe, plasma, mill, 5, 3X, whatever. It's just the software that's different. And as I said, so if someone, let's say, bought a 3-axis version, and then later they decide they need to upgrade to 4th or 5th axis, they just pay the difference. That's, I think, only a few, like $30 an axis or something, not much. And then we'll just send them an upgrade. We just update our system that now it's a 4th axis or 5th axis purchase, and the same unit just upgrade.
So the unit or the board itself is the same. It's just what you're, I guess, turning loose with the software.
Yeah. Like little things like, in case of plasma, it's basically a milling controller. nothing as such different. But what we've done is that in the setup list over time, we are adding more torch height controllers. So the idea is we actually have the most used models in the list. So if you're using any particular type of torch height controller, you can just select that, and we'll give you the wiring diagram, and that will automatically connect to your Z-axis. So the Z-axis, rather than being controlled through G-code, it will be controlled through the feedback from the arc voltage or something.
Okay. And I had another question too, and I think you touched on it a while ago. And it's about, and I hate to compare, Mach 3 to your product, because I know we're talking about apples and oranges there. It's not even close to the same thing, but that's what I know. And so that's kind of what I'm going to use as my example. For people that use Mach 3, like, for example, on this very same laptop that I'm using right now, I have Mach 3 on here, but I can take this laptop and run the 4 different CNCs that I have, because I have machine profiles, different profiles set up for each machine. So whichever one I connect this laptop to, I tell it, okay, now I'm connected to this machine, and it loads that profile, and all the settings are right. Will this Masso work like that, or is it pretty much machine dependent, on a certain machine?
Right. So there is an option to actually save your profiles on the USB disk and load them from there. But I think from wiring point of view, plugging and unplugging all the cables might not be practical. But you can save and load profiles. So that is actually more of from the machine manufacturer's point of view that we designed. So if they're making a similar type of machine, they set it up once, all the axis calibration data, what's the size of your bed, and all that. They can just copy into all 10 machines, and then we just copy of that.
Okay.
Okay. So that actually answered one question there. You actually can calibrate the CNC with this unit.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh yeah. That's a big part of the whole setup. That you set up all the lines, your spindle, your VFD, your encoder, what kind of encoder you have, and it will calibrate for you, because this is running the entire tool,
Okay, terrific. And have 2 questions from the same one. If I want to control a laser, would you suggest this unit?
So you can, as I said, for the plasma one, you can use a laser. If you have any specific questions, very honestly, I don't know anyone who has used it for laser, because a lot of clients buy and we don't even hear back from them. So someone might have, but if there is a specific question, regarding switching on and off the laser beam, or maybe if you want to control your laser, I've heard people through PWM, maybe they want to set the strength. I'll be more than happy to talk to you, and if you want to add something, maybe to control the PWM, we can look into that.
Okay, great. And he also wants to know, what about smooth stepping? Is it integrated, or can we add it?
The smooth stepping is more of a thing that's built into the drives of the steppers. So I would say, is it micro stepping he's saying, or some? Right?
Shade Tree CNC wants to know, how do you set up micro stepping? Is that something within the driver, or is that something here?
The micro stepping is actually done on the motor drivers, so not on the controller. So if you do micro stepping, basically, so rather than saying, are you running 400 steps per revolution, you're running maybe 2,000. So you do that on the drive, and then you come back to a controller, and you say, rather than 400, you say, yeah, I'm running at 2,000 pulses, and it will just work.
Okay. And how is the unit powered?
So you can power it from a DC power supply, anything between 12 to 24 volts.
Oh wow! Okay.
And something like 2 amps, it's enough to run the unit.
Okay. Now, question for me.
That will, with the power supply question, so that will include everything inside. So all your 5 volts and everything, that'll be all converted inside. So even if you're controlling your VFD, because a lot of people earlier phase decision that, how do we control the VFD, because there's no set way to get a 0 to 10 volts from a PC. So that's why all that is built in. So that 12 to 24 volt will also give you 0 to 10 volts to control your VFD.
Okay, great. Does that power have to be regulated? The 12 to 24 volt input?
Yeah, it has to be DC power supply.
Okay. TRS DOS1 would like to know, can it handle an automatic tool changer without reloading the script upon every use?
Yeah, it can. At the moment, we haven't. We have left the space for, as I said, for tool changers or torch-out controllers, and we do support one for the lathe at the moment, because most of the people that we have sold the units to, they've been manually changing the tools. So if you see in the documentation that there is an option to actually have a manual tool changer. So in case of a manual tool changer, it will pop up with a message on the screen saying load tool number X, and press enter to continue. For a tool changer, if you want, we can add that particular logic. And as I said, from the client side of things, we try to make it easy. You can't set up your tool changes, we do it for you. So you can send us the details, we add the logic, send it back to you, and then you can run through. So you can add the calibration data, and the logic will be done on our side.
Okay. Can people write their own macros for it?
No, not at this stage,
No.
because we realize it might, at this stage, make it kind of, again, going back to the whole thing, not stable enough. And as with the documentation, we try to do it that way, that if once we add a tool changer, we make sure it's in all software releases, so the user can literally go through the list and say, oh, that's my type of tool changer, select that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I think I'm caught up again.
I see a question over there. It says, do you have to buy updates? And I think you mentioned that before. All the updates are free, right?
Yeah, all the software updates are free. I would like to mention something there. If there's in particular someone wants this feature that that at the moment no one requests, or most likely it can be manufacturer, then it might have some extra cost initially to add that, because it's hard for us to add feature for just maybe one person. But most of the standard features, like how I said, wizards and other things that we never had before, they were all free. So most of it's free until it's something super special.
I see.
Okay. Yeah, I'm finally caught up.
Okay. Let me see if I had any other questions here. I think I've already asked. Yeah, I've already covered the ones, all of the ones I had.
Okay, well, for an absolute rank beginner, like me, if I was just starting to plan my CNC build and I was looking at the Masso unit, which would I start planning first? Would I buy the Masso unit and then match the motors and drivers to the unit, or would I buy my motors and drivers and then contact you and let you know what I have?
Okay. So generally, as I said, the reason we use the differential signals is pretty much you can use any sort of drives, because I understand some of the Gecko drives, they actually have the negatives on the inputs connected together internally. Some drives have the positives, some have both open. So in this case, from our controller, you can use any type of drive. But just to be safe, and a lot of times we do get these questions, we tell people to email us on support. So it goes through our ticketing system, and we can just quickly flick through the drives and say, oh yeah, this works. So we can pretty much confirm, but it will take most of the drives.
Okay. Fellow by the name of Art wants to know, will it handle a wireless keyboard?
Okay. So wireless keyboard, they do work, but since last update, the software update we had, it has been reported that some wireless keyboards don't work. So I would say at the moment we do know there's a bug in the list that we are kind of looking at. So it's probably a good idea to use the wired keyboard. We've been using wireless and they've been working good, but I would say just to be safe, use the wired one.
Okay, okay. And Andrel Design wants to know, how sensitive is the unit to EMF in a shop, and is it CSA approved for Canada?
Right. Okay. So we don't have any approvals yet. We'll be looking into that very soon because it's a fairly new startup for us, and you know these things do cost a lot, and you need to grow up to some extent. So we'll be definitely looking into that. But from noise immunity and control side of things, that was the reason of actually designing our own hardware and getting all the optocouplers and filters. So we have hardware and software filters on board, and you know we've pretty much taken care of everything. And as always, there's nothing like 100%, and it's been a big learning curve for us too. But we do have all filters on our USB inputs. We have chokes on USB inputs, and optocouplers, hardware filters, and even software filters.
Okay. Okay. And how about wireless hand controllers like pendants or game controllers, etc.?
So yeah, it's a game controller because we only support PlayStation 2 game controller. Okay. So that's another point to be noted.
Okay.
You can use wireless because the signal across the system it's the same, and they will work. Okay. Regarding the wireless pendant, because that is something kind of independent, no one seems to have control who's making them. So for that reason, and we try to make this reliable, we don't actually support wireless pendant. So it has to be a wired one.
Okay. Okay. All right. Eric from Gussie Banjos is wondering, what else do you build?
Right. We've started building some homing sensors. They're little infrared sensors. So it's basically people have been asking us that, oh, you know, we can't home the machine properly every time we home. There's a, you know, it's not accurate enough. There's a bit of an offset because they've been using switches, and some switches have noise and those things. So we do have those sensors, homing sensors, and
okay,
they're pretty accurate, and you know, they're long lasting. We're also working on encoders similar to these infrared sensors I just said. So it's the idea is we're going to actually give you a little reflective disc that you put on the spindle pulley, and then a little circuit board that you point towards. So it's like a tachometer, but it will also have direction and your Z pulses. So you can make sure that you can actually tread with that sensor.
Okay. 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 Now, is the unit Wi-Fi enabled, or is that something coming?
Actually, yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, if you've seen the video too, you can actually plug in a little Wi-Fi module. You can get it off eBay. I think that module is maybe $2 or something. We don't make that module, but because it's such a kind of open design and pretty easy to buy from anywhere, we have a full connector here, so you can buy it off eBay, plug in straight away. We haven't released the software yet because we've been super busy with upgrades. But as soon as the upgrade is out, we will be giving you a software that you can run in Windows. And then on the controller itself, you can put in the Wi-Fi, the name of your network, the password. You can connect to your system, and to your PC, you'll be able to load files and also see some things from the machine itself. What's the status? Is there an alarm on the machine? If it's a production job, how many pieces you have machined. So those basic things you can do with software.
Okay. Okay. Great. So what type of Wi-Fi adapter is that?
So it's mentioned on the website. It's basically an ESP, and there are links to buy from Amazon, eBay, and it's off the shelf actually. Okay,
so it's just an off-the-shelf Wi-Fi adapter. Okay, great.
Now the USB would probably have to stay connected to the actual Masso unit, right? If you get it enabled with Wi-Fi.
Can you repeat yourself?
The USB, like the one let's say the 4 gig USB that you use to load your G code would have to stay on the unit if you were to
Yes.
have a Wi-Fi enabled.
Yeah, that will have to stay on the unit because through the Wi-Fi, the only thing we are doing is actually grabbing the file from your PC, putting on the USB again.
Right.
And run everything from the USB.
I hear you.
Okay. So are the updates to the unit itself downloadable from Wi-Fi, or does it have to be done in another way?
Right. At the moment, generally, when there's an update out, we actually email everyone because the updates are actually linked to the serial number. So every unit comes with its own serial number, so we can track who's using it, what sort of issues we have with options if we have. With Wi-Fi, again, no commitments yet. It's all in the design because when you add Wi-Fi, it opens so many different possibilities. There is a possibility that while you're dropping your NC files, you can even drop an update. But we have to look into that because if it's a production environment, you need to have control when you want to update your machine, kind of stuff. But again, it's more of a feedback thing as we're still working on Wi-Fi. Maybe after this chat, I think I'll be getting a lot of feedback from you guys, and that will help us decide.
Oh yeah, there's lots of feedback already.
Yeah, and
some of these questions I never knew existed.
and just in case anybody's watching and they wanted to pick one of these things up, where can they get one here in the U.S.?
Okay, so in the US, we have CNC4PC.com. So generally, they keep the stock. You can order straight from them. We have our online store too, so hindtechnology.com. So you can order it from there too. So generally, because we are in Sydney, I would say it takes around 4 to 5 days to come to US. So yeah, these are the two places.
Okay. Just a little bit of input from Jeff McD. He says an Android or iPhone pendant would be sweet.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we can look into that. So once we have the Wi-Fi, so through Wi-Fi, your Android can connect to the controller. Yeah, definitely we can look into that. Yeah, sounds good.
That would also be a slick way of incorporating the touchscreen straight to.
Yeah, probably yes. Yeah, like a little remote kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I've got a little question.
Okay.
Now this may be something that's off the wall or not, but
we expect that from you, Russ.
Yes, indeed. Are you possibly thinking about doing like X-Scarf did and sending them out for evaluation to the CNC members?
Sorry, Mike, you cutting out. Can you repeat yourselves?
Okay, you know how X-Carve came out with their CNC machines and they were passing them out for evaluation purposes. Is that something that y'all might consider on a wider scale than what we're talking here?
Yeah. We are actually thinking about that. So it depends on what's the scope after that, and definitely that's always open. And yeah, you can contact me, and we can definitely go from there. Because that's another way for us to actually, go in the market and also get the feedback.
Feedback, right? Yeah. Now, see, Dave, that wasn't a bad question.
Yeah, that was a good question, Russ. And by the way, Jat was kind enough to offer one of the controllers for the giveaway, but I had already purchased, the controllers, stepper motors, and everything for the giveaway because we kind of got him. Like communicating a little bit late there for that, but yeah, he was kind enough to offer that, and I appreciate that, Jet.
Yes, and everyone, I just linked in the chat over here. I linked the U.S. distributor CNC for PC. Somebody asked about what kind of customs delay. If you order through the U.S. distributor, the only delay you'll get is from U.S. Postal Service. But we do have one person wondering, where are they made?
All right, cool. So I think that's quite an obvious one these days. Everything's made in China. So we do get the boards populated in China. We desperately try to get them made here in Australia. And I would have loved to, but yeah, maybe at the stage, the numbers aren't that big. But again, looking at the competition and everything, we couldn't, sadly. But everything gets shipped over here in Sydney. So that's where we load all the software, do all the tests, make sure everything works fine, and then we ship it back from here to everywhere else.
Okay. All right, Tim Roberts, yes, he did answer it, and it does fully support router speed control and an emergency stop.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm caught
All right.
up.
Well, we're getting up. We're getting up to the top of the hour here, and I tell you, that's just so much information to sink in. I would love to have Jat come back on here another time, and if it's where you can kind of do a little demonstration, showing us the user interface, and I don't know if you have a machine there to run or not. Anything you could do like that, that would be pretty cool if we could see something like that.
We can definitely do that. And just as a quick update, basically, I used to study at University of Sydney, and just recently we applied for one of their startup programs. And they have a little incubate program, so for startups, and we got selected. So they're really helping us onto this. So hopefully, with some funding and some more guys on the team, we'll be able to do some good videos. And that will probably include a live video on your channel. We would love to do that. And as a feedback, because it's such a new thing, as I said, I've realized making these things in my own room, disconnected to the world, is something different to actually talking to people. If there's like some sort of an exhibition or an event that's coming up in the US, I would love to come there and then have maybe a little stall and talk to you guys, meet everyone in person. So keep me updated, with the real world.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to see about that.
Australia is not the real world.
From CNC point of view, the sale numbers are so less here. People are not much into CNC.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, we're not much on it.
I was super excited about, I'm going to see a lot of CNCs, everything. And the only thing I could see is 3D printers, not even a single router or anything. And totally disappointing.
Wow. We need to introduce you to Peter Pozuelo over in New Zealand. We do have one question from Jeff Robinson. He's wondering about the warranty.
All right. We have a full 1-year warranty. So 1-year warranty is basically on the hardware. And, if there is something wrong with the unit, but it won't include if someone actually ends up burning the unit, but all the basic stuff that, everything's supposed to work, that kind of thing. And if as a user, if you're not happy within the first few weeks, you can always return the unit back. So you don't like the interface or anything else, you're like, oh, maybe it won't be any good for me. You can return it back. We'll do a full refund for that.
Thank you for that. So,
okay. Well, is that all the questions, Mark?
Yeah, that's unless you're ready to start talking about beer. But now somebody's saying,
okay.
About
I think that's a good.
I'm looking for now. Go ahead.
I think that's a good place to leave it right here. Jad, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and spending your early Sunday afternoon with us and talking about the Masso. And like I said, we definitely want to have you back to do a demonstration. You let me know when you're ready to do that. Stay in touch, and we'll get you on here again because I think there's going to be a lot of interest in this. I know I'm certainly interested. And I guess we're going to wrap this one up here. Yeah, it's right at 10 o'clock. I want to do the question of the week real quick, and then we'll sign off. you know, like I said, we're going to do, for those of you who have hung around, what do we got, 91 folks still watching? Tried to give the hat away last week. Nobody got the right answer. So I'm going to do a new question of the week, and that is, and if anybody on panel knows, be quiet because you got to text the answer. And oh, by the way, does everybody still have my phone number? If not, it's 770-778-5816. First one to text me the correct answer to this question will win the hat. And the question is, in a video or one of the CNC with Dave shows we did not too long ago, we had Becca Miller on as the spotlight, and she was talking about her previous job, what she used to do, and she was a computer programmer for what company?
Ooh.
First one to text me that answer at 770-778-5816. I'll be sending you a hat. Okay, that's going to do it. Thanks everybody for being on the panel. Thanks again, Jat. You can hang around with us when we sign off here. We'll hang around and catch up a little bit. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see y'all next week. Everybody have a good weekend.
See y'all next week, and thank you all for the great questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much.